All right, welcome everyone. If you're a focused learner looking to completely transform how you communicate, well, you are in the exact right place today. We're going to break down the exact science and the structure behind speaking with absolute confidence and clarity. I am honestly so excited to guide you through this explainer, mostly because what we're looking at today, it isn't just theory. It's a highly practical, scientifically backed roadmap to mastering what is arguably the most critical skill you can possess. So let's just dive right in. Okay, I want you to jump into a time machine with me for just a second. Think back to when you were in school. You're sitting at your desk, maybe daydreaming a little bit, and out of nowhere, your teacher calls on you in front of the whole class. What's the molecular rate of nitrogen? Tell me quickly. Now, you actually know the answer. You know it's 14. But what happens? Your brain just completely blanks. You freeze. Your whole body kind of locks up. You literally know the information, so why on earth couldn't you just say it? Well, to prove why this happens, I want to challenge you right through the screen with a really quick exercise. If I asked you right this second to name your best friend, you do it in a fraction of a second, right? Instant recall. But if I suddenly look you dead in the eye and say, quick, list three specific qualities of that best friend, I guarantee you over 95% of you are going to hesitate. You'll need a moment to think. And if you force yourself to speak immediately, you'll probably stutter. So the absolute crucial point here is that the unexpected pressure of a random question literally shuts down your ability to deliver a clear answer. What you're experiencing in that moment is something called memory overload. And there's actually a really simple science behind this. When someone fires a sudden question at you, your brain perceives it as a high-pressure, fear-inducing situation. An emergency trigger goes off, and it just floods your system with stress hormones. Suddenly, dozens of thoughts are crashing into your mind all at once. It's like a massive mental traffic jam. You can't select just one clear thought to speak, so your brain simply hits the brakes and freezes. That's exactly why you couldn't answer the teacher, even when you knew the material cold. Now, what's really interesting about this realization is this. If freezing up is just a biological reaction, we can actually learn to hack it. Seriously, you see top politicians and elite business leaders answering sudden aggressive questions with incredible poise all the time. They aren't superhuman, you guys. They don't have magical brains that somehow bypass pressure. Instead, they've just learned a specific framework to bypass that memory overload. Communication is absolutely not a talent you're simply born with. It is a highly structured skill that literally anyone can master. So, here is our roadmap to elite speaking for today. First, thinking speed. Second, perfect structure. Third, powerful delivery. And finally, we'll wrap up with a 7-day challenge. Let's start with step 1, thinking speed. Look, before we can even hope to say the right words, we have to control that frantic rush of thoughts in our minds that causes the brain freeze in the first place. And the best tool for this is the 2-second clarity pause. Have you ever noticed that when you're asked a question, if you start speaking instantly, you kind of just end up rambling and saying things you immediately regret? Yeah, that's because our brains think incredibly fast, but our mouths move pretty slowly. If you don't pause, your mouth just vomits out that whole traffic jam in your head. In a recent study, Group A was told to answer questions instantly, no pausing allowed. Group B, however, was instructed to take 2 full seconds of silence before speaking. The result? Group B showed phenomenal clarity in thought selection. When you take just a 2-second pause, you're giving your brain the exact amount of time it needs to plug the correct thought out of the chaos and send it smoothly down to your tongue. So now that you've taken that pause, how do you actually organize those thoughts quickly? You use the Harvard-backed 3-2-1 rule. Imagine I suddenly demand you give a speech right now on the word travel. If you try to wing it, you're going to stumble, but let's apply 3-2-1. First, 3 points. Give me 3 quick facts. Travel is important because you learn new things, you experience new languages, and you meet new people. Boom, done. Next, 2 types. You can really experience 2 main types of travel, flying across the globe or taking a local bus trip. Finally, 1 conclusion. End with a heavy statement. Therefore, travel is the ultimate tool to understand different cultures. See how brilliantly that structures your brain on the fly? It's a total game changer. Moving right along to step 2, perfect structure. Once you've paused and caught your breath, you've got to structure your words effectively. If you just ramble or, and we all do this, over-explain things just to prove you know the answer, the listener is going to get incredibly bored and tune you out entirely. To prevent that rambling, we use a scientifically proven method from 2019 called the PRE strategy. That stands for point, reason, example. Let's say someone asks your opinion on mobile addiction. Instead of going on a 10-minute rant, just use the structure. State your point. Mobile addiction has become a massive epidemic among today's youth. Give your reason. Because it completely distracts them and pulls them away from their life goals. Then back it up with an example. I actually had a student who completely lost their path because they couldn't put their phone down. Notice how tight and impactful that is? It immediately signals to the listener that you know exactly what you're talking about. Building on that structure, you really need to understand how top politicians and CEOs format their overall speeches. Spoiler alert, they don't try to make every single sentence mind-blowing. That's exhausting. Instead, they use the start strong and end strong method. They open with a massive, heavy statement, something like, health is the single most important asset in your life. Then, the entire middle of their speech, it's just normal, standard information and data. But they don't let it fizzle out at the end, right? They wrap it up with another incredibly powerful, memorable statement. Those powerful bookends are what make the entire speech feel absolutely brilliant to the listener. Which brings us to step 3, powerful delivery. You can have the best structure in the world, guys, but research shows that how you say something accounts for at least 50% of your communicative impact. Delivery is where you truly capture your audience. The first element of delivery is your pacing. Stanford University actually conducted research to find out exactly what speaking speed audiences prefer. And if you speak way too fast, the audience feels rushed and confused. Speak too slowly, and they just get bored. But a staggering 80% of audiences overwhelmingly prefer a normal speaking speed combined with intentional pauses. Taking your time naturally signals to the listener, hey, this person knows exactly what they are talking about, I can trust them. Next up is your body language. Harvard research identified something they call the power posture. Now, this posture projects ultimate confidence and authority before you even speak a single word. It relies on 3 simple things. First, a straight spine, whether you're sitting down or standing up. Second, your hands must be visible and moving naturally. If you cross your arms, you look closed off, right? And if you hide your hands behind your back, you just look underconfident. Third, keep your face relaxed. An overly tense or aggressive face makes the listener anxious. A calm, relaxed face tells the audience you are completely in control. The final piece of delivery is eye contact. We've all been there. If a speaker just stares at one person the whole time, the rest of the room completely zones out. To fix this, use the triangle eye method. When you speak, purposefully look to the left side of the room, then naturally transition over to the right side of the room, and finally bring your gaze right back to the center. Research actually shows that speakers who use this triangle method are perceived as vastly more confident. Why? Because it makes every single listener in that room feel as though you are having a direct, personal conversation with them. Now for the fun part, the 7-day pressure immunity drill. So, we've got the theory down. We know the speed, the perfect structure, and the powerful delivery. But how do we permanently defeat that biological fear trigger in the brain? Well, we have to practice under artificial pressure. This is your challenge, and I highly, highly encourage you to take it on starting today. Every single day for the next 7 days, I want you to pick a totally random topic. It could be sugar, shoes, or even the weather. Turn your phone camera on and record yourself speaking continuously about that topic for exactly 1 straight minute. Apply that 2-second pause before you start, use the PRE structure, and maintain your power posture. Doing this daily builds permanent immunity to the pressure of sudden questioning. Eventually, when you step into a real high-stakes situation, your brain will just recognize it as another drill and you won't freeze up. Listen, if you can master your thinking speed, lock in your perfect structure, and truly own your powerful delivery, you will no longer just be talking. You will be captivating. Communication truly is the greatest tool of influence in the world. It literally dictates your success in business, in leadership, and in life. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up this explainer. Now that you actually have the blueprint to speak with absolute